Hi everyone, my name is Gina and I am a librarian at the Spokane Public Library, and I am here to teach you how to create your own escape room at home. I made 2 escape rooms last summer for the Spokane Public Library's summer reading program, and it was a lot of fun and it was not that difficult to do, so I think you should try it too. So first, what is an escape room? An escape room is essentially a puzzle room where the participants are looking around the room, looking for clues in order to escape. So what they do is there's some sort of established unlocking mechanism, whether that's the clue is locked in a lockbox that has 4 locks on it, so they have to unlock the 4 locks to get out, or maybe they have to use a password or passphrase that they have to find clues in the room that tell them what that is so that they can solve the room. And then once they solve the puzzles, they can either win, or if they don't figure out all the puzzles in time, then they lose. So why should you make your own escape room? You should make your own escape room because it's fun, it's also creative, and taking the time to make your own escape room from scratch can inspire others to do it as well. So the very first step, you need to choose a scenario. The scenario can pretty much be whatever you want it to be. Last summer when I made my escape rooms, they were space themed because that's what our summer reading program's theme was. So I had 2 different ones. One was escaping from a space station, and the other was escaping an alien abduction. So the reason why you set a scenario is to get your participants more interested in your room, make them a part of the story, and also to establish a purpose. So if they don't really know why they're trying to escape the room, it's not as fun. If they don't really understand or feel like there is a purpose, then your room may fall flat. So this is really important to do at first, but again, it can be whatever you want it to be. Next, you need to choose a location, and this can be a house, a room, or just a designated area. I find that the smaller the area, the easier it is to put together the room, the less decorating you have to do, the less clues you have to come up with, and it's usually easier to direct, not necessarily an easier room, but it's easier to direct your participants where you want them to go if the room is smaller or the location is smaller. And you can do this in like a bedroom or a home office or even a living room. And as I said, if the space is too large, that's okay. Maybe take some painter's tape and tape off half the room so that they know that this half is in play and this half is not. So that can make it a little bit easier too. I think it would also be fun to limit the room to not just a room, but maybe just a small space. Like maybe all the clues they need to find are located in this one desk. If you have a desk that has lots of drawers and pockets and like hidden crevices, that might be kind of fun to put everything in the desk, like empty it all out and put only clues in there or distractions in there. That could be a lot of fun too. Next, it's time to develop some clues. And this might seem pretty intimidating at first, but it's really not. The trick is to work backwards. So you have to figure out what you're working with, whether that is a padlock with a key or a combination number lock, or as I said before, maybe it's a password or a passphrase. So whatever that is. So let's say it's a padlock with a key. So you have to find that key. So where are you going to hide it? Let's say you hide it under a flower pot. Well, how are your participants going to know that they need to look under the flower pot? Well, you need to go back a step and pick the clue that is before that. Okay, so how are we going to, where are we going to hide the clue that tells them that it's in the flower pot? So maybe we hide it in a book. Let's say Little Women, page 10, there's a note that says, look under the flower pot. So, okay, great. So then they'll know how to get to the key. Then you take it a step back again. How do they know that they need to look in Little Women on page 10? Well, I don't know, maybe there's a newspaper laying around and only the words women, little, and 10 are highlighted on the page. Then they kind of have to figure out, oh, book, Little Women, maybe it's page 10. And that way they kind of work their way back. And you do that for each thing. So if you have 4 locks, one of them's padlock, that would be the section for the padlock. And then you'd have the next thing is another lock, a combination lock. So you have to hide that combination, and you have to decide where you're going to put it, and then the clue that leads to that location, and then the clue that leads to that location, and so on. And you just really decide how many, first of all, locks, or maybe if you're doing a password or passphrase, how many words are in that passphrase. So you kind of start out with like, how many things do they have to figure out? And then how many clues does it take them to find out? So that's how you adjust difficulty and time limit. And so really it's just working backwards. It really isn't that difficult. And kind of fun. And make sure that when you're doing this, you can also tie in your clues to the theme as well. So now that we kind of have decided maybe what our clues are and maybe what we're going to do, we can decide where we're going to hide them, what they're going to hide in. And I just kind of came up with a list, and I did this really quick. It only took me a little bit to just think about things around the house. And you can do that by just looking around. What do I have in my house? And so some people have hollow books. You could hide the clues in a hollow book. You could take some regular tape that you have in your house and tape the clues underneath like a desk or behind a bookshelf or under the couch. You could hide them in lots of different ways by just using whatever tape you have in the house. You can hide them under candles or in the dirt of houseplants. You could take your TV remotes and pull out the batteries and stick the clue in there. Maybe you have some old kids' toys or like an old dollhouse that you could hide it maybe under the sofa in the dollhouse, and they have to go look there for the clue. And then we also, a lot of us have, DVD cases, video game cases, CD cases, any of these cases, especially if there's a lot of them, you can hide them inside those. And so one of the clues could be the name of the DVD or the artist of the CD or the name of the video game. And that's another step in your clues. And so the next part, after you have all of your clues decided, you should just kind of decorate your room. And so this step is really just, you can go as overboard as you want. You can play it as low key as you want. It's up to you. These are some professional, more professional rooms. So I doubt your escape room is going to look like this. Mine certainly didn't. But we have the Harry Potter common room, a prison cell for prison break, and it looks like another sort of like mine, a space-themed escape room. But really it's just being creative and decorating things and kind of setting some atmosphere. And then I think it's also important as the leader of the escape room to be theatrical, to get excited. That really sets the tone and the mood for your participants. And some of the ways that I do this, first I do for every single one, I write up an introduction and I write it out word for word so I can just read it to them. But I read it several times over, practicing it so that I can have the right inflection in my voice or the right tone. And that way, if it's all the way written out, I don't forget certain things that I want them to know as part of the story. But having an introduction gets them into the room, lets them know what's going on, what's the reality of this story they are now a part of, and gives them direction, and it's really, really pretty fun. For another escape room, the alien abduction one, I added a little bit to it. So I did the same thing where I had this introduction and then I added a recording as well. And I'll play that for you in a second. But I think the introduction said something like, there's a big flash of white light and all of a sudden you wake up on a spaceship. It looks like it's an alien spaceship. And you notice that there are 3 or 4 other people in the room that you may or may not know. And as you're investigating the room, trying to find a way out, you hear this. And this is supposed to be the thing that comes over the intercom in the spaceship.
Attention. This is Captain Blob. We've collected the necessary human specimens and artifacts to complete our mission. The ship will leave Earth's orbit in 30 minutes. We will reach the home planet in approximately 5 Earth years. Please report to your positions and prepare for takeoff. Attention.
So that was all that was I downloaded an app on my phone. It was completely free, and it was a voice changer app. And so I wrote out a short script, and I read the script into the phone, and then I picked whatever voice changer I wanted. There was all different kinds, but I picked the alien one, obviously. And then it kind of gave it this fun little recording. So it kind of added to the atmosphere of the room. It made them feel more like they're in a spaceship. And it was a lot of fun to make. So anything, you can do things like that if you want to. All right, for the last step, need to make sure that we give our participants direction. And that means that we need to really explain the rules, what they are. A lot of times at this point in the room, I tell them, you have a half hour to solve the room, or you have 15 minutes to solve the room. This is really important, I think, to add a time limit because it adds pressure. They can't just, be lazy and take their time. They have to be thinking, and they have to be working together, and they have to be conscious of that the whole time, and it adds to the fun of the room. I also make sure that they know things that I told them, that I talked to you guys before, like what is it that they are trying to accomplish and how do they accomplish it, whether it's you need to escape the space station and you need to do that by obtaining a key card that's locked in a box with 4 locks on it. You have to find all the clues that help you open up that lockbox. That's a rule. That's how it works. So in addition to those things, you need to make sure and tell them, I also tell them, be careful. You don't have to rip anything apart. There's nothing you have to open or destroy to solve this room, because a lot of times I don't know what it is, but people get really destructive. They're thinking, oh, it's under the wallpaper. And so they'll start ripping the wallpaper. So you just have to make sure and tell them what is part of the room and what isn't. And that includes, like, say you're doing an escape room in a bedroom and you really don't want to take your whole closet apart to do the room. You can just say, okay, whole room is in play, but not the closet. And then that way they know they're not going to waste their time going into the closet. Usually they don't care, but it's just kind of a good way to start the room. So with that is all you have to do to make your own escape room. Before you leave, I wanted to let you know that this webinar comes with a secret code. The code is called Clues. You can use Clues on our library website. We're doing a spring reading challenge where you're able to participate in different reading challenges and different reading activities, or just different regular activities that you can do to gain points for this challenge. And if you go into your page on this and type Clues into the secret code box that's on that section of the website, you'll get some extra points. So go ahead and do that. And I just want to wish you good luck on your escape room and have fun. And thank you for spending time with me for this webinar.